That was so well done. But did you see that Moxley got onto WWE backstage?
No, I think I heard about it though.
Yeah. So Renee, like they're still doing WWE backstage. It's still on Fox, but they're doing it from home, just like
She's at
every.
home, right?
Yeah, and she's at
Yeah.
home, and so Moxley just jumps into frame with the dog, and like scares her, and then
And then like Booker T or something makes a comment
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah. Xavier Woods was on there too, and yeah, it was super funny. And he came down and he got his face on camera. You knew it was him. It was really funny, and yeah, big moment. Moxley AEW on WWE. The invasion has started.
Is that what they're saying? That's crazy.
Yeah, the invasion's coming in. AEW's taking over. Whoa! Do you see that?
See what?
Just like look up. Do you see that?
Whoa.
Like, whoa. FTR.
I don't get it.
Cue the intro.
The following presentation has been brought to you by HSF Productions. The Impromptu Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Jeff and David.
Hey guys, welcome back to IWP, the Impromptu Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Towelie 006. Over to my left, as always, is my brother Damien. How you doing this week, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing good. It was a long week this week. I don't know. Things seem to drag out this week.
Like being at home all the time and stuff?
Yeah, it's starting to catch up to me, and I'm usually
Yeah.
always at home, so that's saying something. But you know, keeping things loose, keeping things, I don't know, trying to keep things excited. Been playing a lot of pool and a lot more video games and whatnot, but
And the weather's starting to shape up, so we'll be outside soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, all the snow's gone. How's the snow situation over there?
Yeah, all good. I've already cut my lawn.
Oh, wow.
Well, not cut it, but
Right.
worked on it.
Worked on it. All right. Well, we had a really good week of wrestling to talk about here. We got a awesome episode of Being the Elite. Things are getting back to normal for them, it seems. A couple of great matches on AEW Dark as always, and of course AEW Dynamite. But before we get into everything, I want to just remind everybody to like, subscribe, leave us some comments below on what you think AEW is doing and what you think they're doing wrong and what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong, and we'll have a conversation and talk about it. But as we get into things, let's just jump right in. BTE episode 201, A Message in the Sky. Things in this episode started off, I don't know, it was, I can't believe we're doing this. Are we going to keep the show going? Kind of vibe from the Jacksons. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I thought it was a bit weird. I guess I never thought that they'd stop doing Being the Elite.
Yeah, me too.
So for them to kind of joke about, hey, we thought it was done kind of thing, it was interesting.
It caught me off guard.
What did you think about it?
It caught me off guard. Like I was just like the same reason. I was just like, what? Why would you stop? You guys are like Being the Elite is this the centerfold of your fandom. Like honestly, if I can be a little frank here, the Young Bucks aren't the Young Bucks without Being the Elite. They're definitely not as big.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
But they have a quick little discussion that sounds like things are going to keep going on, and they joke at their health. Nick's back down to 15%, and Matt's gonna have to sell his lower back injury for another 2 years, which I thought was hilarious. Because he had finally stopped selling it when AEW started. He's like, I'm so glad. He mentions it in an episode of Being the Elite. He's like, I'm just happy I don't have to sell that back injury anymore. But I guess we're back to it. So that made me chuckle. I like that part. And then we get a little bit of a teaser. And Nick says, do you see that in the sky? And they kind of both look up and lift up the sunglasses. And then we get into, the norm, back to basics, if you will, Being the Elite. New opening, kind of hashing in all the old ones, kind of, amalgamated together, which I thought was cool.
Did you think that was in some way WWE-ish, if I can put it that way? Is there a taste of vanilla there with their opening, with the kind of flashing
and forever style? Yeah, maybe a little bit.
But do you think this is what they go with from now on, or was this just a one-time deal?
I don't know. I was kind of liking the 16-bit look. It always reminded me of those Super Nintendo WWE games, or WWF at the time games. I enjoyed that. They didn't have that one quite as long as some of the other ones, so I don't know. I feel like this might be a one-off, but it's not a terrible thing if it's not. So
yeah, I like that. It's actually kind of shorter.
Right. I think if anything, no offense to Papa Buck or anything like that, we need a new version of the theme song. I think.
Like a metal version.
Yeah, just something different. I mean, we've been listening to... I mean, it's a great song. Don't get me wrong. But, I mean, if you're going to be updating the video, update the audio. It's time the theme song went heel and got a little darker, maybe.
Yeah, I agree.
Episode starts off with Luchasaurus. He's still in this trying to find his tail business. I was starting to kind of get on board with this, and I'm back off board. Like I'm bored with this bit already. What are you thinking about this bit?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably talk about it a little bit later on. I felt like the putting together of all of it was really well done. Mm-hmm. The idea of it, but yeah, the execution, it's losing me. Like, I feel like I just want the next segment to come in. Mm-hmm. So it's not keeping my interest.
Did you recognize any kind of pop culture reference with these 3 vials?
No, but I was hoping that you would know.
Yeah, I was thinking
like,
about
even
it
what
all
the
week.
whole later part is about.
Yeah.
Do you have an idea? Or?
No, something clicked. Like, yeah, this is something, but I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what they're referencing here, but I feel like it is a reference. So if anybody out there knows, leave it in the comments.
Do we know who this Dr. Black is?
No, I don't know who he is. I'm assuming just another one of those Lucha Underground kind of guys that he's somewhat friends with. Here's a there's a scene where we see Tyra Valkyrie again. She's kind of doing the hysterical laugh, and she's got her glass of wine, and this is part of his dream sequence, if you will, or whatever. But he gets the package delivered to him, and it's just a hooded character. Guy's fucking obviously jacked. If that's not John Morrison, I'll be upset. I think that was John Morrison sneaking into an episode of Being the Elite. Because if you kind of look back at that first time Luchasaurus goes and visits Tyra Valkyrie, he's like, yeah, I just want to see my friend and stuff like that. Like, it's the same door, it's the same house, kind of the outside and stuff like that.
Okay.
So Yeah, I think that's John Morrison sneaking into being the Elite, which I thought was great.
Maybe we'll have to do like an Unsolved Mysteries type episode where we break down the video and prove that it's actually him. Exactly.
Overlaying images to match up the shoulder width and shit like that.
Yeah.
Could we get the guy from Unsolved Mysteries to narrate it?
Probably. I mean, he's not doing anything right now.
I mean, he did basketball, for Christ's sakes. He's got to be open. As we get in, we get Colt Cabana sneaking in. A new way to sneak into being the Elite, which I enjoyed. It was a breath of fresh air. It wasn't just him in the background and then Kenny chasing him. So I really enjoyed this spot where it's Colt Cabana reading out and narrating the advert for the Young Bucks' upcoming new book, Killing the Business. So I thought that was really good. What did you?
I really like that too.
Yeah, it's cool. And then he puts himself over too. As he's talking off, he kind of gets off script and he's putting himself over in the process. I thought everything about it was good. It's really good. Then it moves over to Papa Buck. He's playing the piano and whatnot. Maybe he's working on the Elite theme song, and Young Bucks aren't having it, and they started a super kick party right in Papa Buck's living room. He took it good too.
Yeah.
He's learned how to sell over the years, watching his boys wrestle in the backyard. So I thought that was great. And then we come back to Luchasaurus again. He's got his package. He takes his vials and he goes into this weird dream sequence. But again, just getting bored of the Luchasaurus. I just want to see what the conclusion is to this already, and let's move on, kind of thing.
So none of the, we'll say, imagery or characters that were in this, nothing that sparked any sort of, hey, this is mimicking something in a movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he references that thing is like his mom, and then his mom wants him to shit his pants or something. Like I wasn't getting.
No,
I get that he's like kind of hallucinating, but
yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
But I thought the filming of it was well done. Right? Like I'm just thinking if I tried to do something like that, I don't think I could do it myself. So I thought it was well done in that respect, but I'm not relating with the story or.
Yeah, me neither. Actually, it's been so I kind of forget how it all goes down. I just remember that there's like that snake-looking thing, and he's got a sword and he's fighting it. But something's there. I know it's a reference to something, but I can't.
Yeah,
I just can't put my finger
you were
on it.
missing something from Lucha Underground. Do you think it'd be something from that?
Well, very possible, because he keeps referencing it back. Like, what was Black Panda or Panda Express, whatever the mask. That's a character from Lucha Underground as well.
Okay.
And then, we know he's looking to see John Morrison, who is in Lucha Underground. So this might have relations to that. So, I mean, I'm not sure if Lucha Underground is still on Netflix. It was at one point. I had started watching it, but I mean, I kind of lost interest. But maybe that's something that we got to look into. And
yeah. I wonder if this is going to be an introduction to a new person on the roster.
Right. Yeah, maybe this Panda Express guy's coming.
But yeah, it wasn't working for me this week.
Yeah, definitely not. And then we move into another private party segment, which kind of didn't land on its feet, if you will. Wasn't as good as the first time we saw the bit, but
I don't know what they were trying to go for.
That's what I mean. Like, I think it just kind of fell on its face a little bit.
I thought the beginning was like, are they mimicking Steve Austin? Because he kept going, what?
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
If they were, it was a horrible attempt at at an impersonation of it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a weird thing.
Weak sauce coming from Private Party, but they kind of left things on a cliffhanger a little bit. You know, this bit's not over, if you will, because they kind of left things a little open there. But what was it? Was he accusing the other guy of being the masked figure behind the AC unit? Is that where the kind of the conclusion of this bit was going? And he wasn't having anything of it. He's like, man, to hell with you.
You know what? I didn't catch that, but you might be right with that, actually. Because he just walks away, right?
Yeah. Like, they were trying to figure out what happened the last time they were on. And none of them had an explanation. And I think, I always get the two mixed up. But,
Yeah.
you know, the Mohawk Bowser from Super Mario Brothers live action movie, he says to the skinny guy.
Yeah. No, I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Like, get a haircut, bud. Yeah, he says, he's like, well, maybe it was you. Maybe it was you who attacked us. And he's like, what? That doesn't even make sense. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully there's a conclusion, much like the Luchasaurus bit. We need closure on some of these bits. But and then we come back and we're back at the Young Bucks, and they kind of reprise where we left them off at the beginning of the episode. You know, hey, do you see that up in the sky? They take their sunglasses off, and we have FTR written in the clouds. Now, I don't know about you, but I popped so big on this. Like, my chair I had to set the backdrop back up because I knocked it over. Like, I popped hard. This was Austin returning from injury 1999. Big pop. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. Like, what were your thoughts on seeing the famous 3 letters up in the sky? And what do you think it means?
I still don't get it. No, I'm just kidding. You know, you like, because I was working in the yard, and then you texted me, and you just said it's starting.
It's happening.
And you do this often, right? Like, you send me these things, and I'm supposed to know what they are, so I always have to ask for more information. And obviously, I didn't watch something, right? So then you're asking me, like, did you watch? And, okay, well, you know, everything shut down, went and got my phone, watched it, and then I was popping. I was outside. I almost spilled my beer. I mean, I think we expected this, right? Like,
we did.
It would be silly if it didn't happen. Hopefully, it's not just a tease. Hopefully, we see the boys there.
I mean, obviously, we're talking about formerly known as the Revival. Much the butt of the joke in being the Elite. You know, the whole FTR get it segments, and you know, Cody always coming in and 1, 2, 3, fuck the Revival. You know, like, it was always, they were always the butt of the joke, and the Twitter feud that sparked because of it between the Young Bucks and the Revival, you know, was great. And the Young Bucks promise, you know, someday it's going to be Young Bucks versus the Revival, and we'll see who the best tag team really is. And I mean, I think this is just all too good to be true. I'm trying not to get my hopes up, because I know we've said this before. When we were first starting to see the Revival, you know, NXT, and even when they came up to the main roster, you know, we always liked these guys because they were old school. They were tag team wrestling. This wasn't just 2 singles guys that didn't have anything to do. Cesaro, Sheamus, just throw them together and they're a tag team now. Maybe that'll spark some interest in them. These guys are a tag team. And I think if my history serves me correctly, that they've been a tag team their whole careers. Like, they got together very early. They came into NXT together, and obviously they've left WWE together. They've changed their names. They've changed their team name. I'm actually not even quite sure. I hope it still starts with an R, because it's just going to ruin the merchandise sales, right?
Right.
But, these guys even were putting FTR on their trunks in the later stages of their WWE run. So, like, these guys are on board. They obviously enjoyed the free publicity that the Elite were giving them. But is it too good to be true? Hopefully not.
Are they not friends?
I don't know. They would have to be, you would think. But
yeah, I feel like this was always the plan. Like, because they never really had a good run in WWE, I don't feel.
Oh, they were
never
grossly misused. Grossly misused.
Especially when, I'm going to say it. I think they were like one of the top wrestlers in all of WWE.
They're good.
Like, I think the reason we like them was not only because they're old school, is because they wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like this was always the plan. As soon as the contract runs out,
yeah,
and they've been working on it. Doesn't that feel like that'd be something they would do? Like, they'd already be planning now for that escape and set up the storyline. Yeah, I hope it's not just a tease.
Yeah, I hope not. So, before we move on to the next segment, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Or let me put out my wishes on something that I hope happens. If the Revival, again, I can't remember what their new name is. It's not as good as Revival. I can tell you that. But if they do come to AEW, and they are part of AEW going forward, I believe it's Dawson. If we don't get a storyline that he is Arn Anderson's long-lost son, I'm going to be truly upset.
Yeah. I mean, they could do it. Like, and that's the other thing about these guys is, so they have the wrestling, they're old school, they're, I think, fairly decent on the mic, and then they can also do the comedy and the backstage stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to be on Being the Elite for sure.
100%.
Like, do you remember that one video thing they had where they're shaving their backs?
Yes.
And then the Usos walk in or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, to pull that off straight faced and whatever, and then use it at the ramp promo. Like, yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, these guys get it. And I'm excited. Again, hopefully it's not a tease, because I'm excited for what's going to happen here. All right.
Cody watches, so Cody, just make it happen.
Make it happen. I mean, we'll get into this later, but he did not listen to me, but whatever. We'll talk about it later.
He's doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Let's get into AEW Dark Tuesday night. We had 2 really good matches. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we had in the first match a guy I don't think we've seen before, Sean Dean, and he was up against Jimmy Havoc. And in the second match, we had Lee Johnson, who we've seen before, and Musa, which did we see last week?
No, this was his AEW debut.
Oh, okay. So it was those 2 guys up against Best Friends.
Yeah, Sean Dean he's the captain. We've seen him on Dark before.
Oh, okay.
I believe he's like the captain. He was a former Marine or something. So this is the second time I've seen him. But yeah, this.
You know what? I honestly didn't see these matches, so I'll let you.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
the Sean Dean Jimmy Havoc match was it was really good. Sean Dean knows how to wrestle. He moves well in the ring. Jimmy was doing his British strong style style of wrestling, his joint manipulation, and he was really working the fingers and stuff like that. Jimmy's not a professional wrestler per se. Like he can do the moves, but they're not really, like, he's not out there suplexing people or anything like that. So it was a different kind of match. Like, Sean Dean had his moments of offense where he was doing wrestling moves to Jimmy, but Jimmy wasn't giving him back. He was really working on the joint manipulation, as Cody liked to say in the commentary. But decent match. Didn't go for very long. I think it was only like 5 minutes. But decent match from Jimmy Havoc on Dark is really good. Now the Lee Johnson and Musa versus Best Friends. Now this was a lot better match. This was kind of one of the higher tiered matches that we've seen on Dark lately with some of these quote unquote undercard guys, recruits, whatever you want to call them, jobbers if you will. Lee Johnson we've seen before. He's wrestled the Exalted One and Lance Archer. He's been absolutely destroyed both times, which makes sense. So we haven't really seen what Lee Johnson can really do. But working with the Best Friends in a tag team environment, we got to see what this guy can do, and he's really good. I'm really vibing on Lee Johnson right now. This guy is really, really good. This match was a true tag team match. It wasn't like that squash match that we saw on Being the Elite a couple weeks ago, against SCU. This was a tag team match. Lee and Musa got their offense in. They were working on Trent as always, and Chucky T's got to come in with the hot tag and save the day, kind of thing. It was a really good match, and I suggest if you have some time, maybe this weekend, just go back and check this tag team match out. Good, solid.
Yeah, because those two guys, Johnson and Musa, like they're pretty athletic guys, eh?
Oh yeah. This Musa's they're very similar, but Musa's just a bit bigger than Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson, I think he's a young kid, so he might not be done growing yet. Mm-hmm. Hasn't really gotten his man muscle on yet, but yeah, both very fit guys, very athletic. They're jumping all over the place. It was a good match, and we're gonna see Musa again. We'll talk about later on Dynamite. So, these two guys impressed me. I hope we see more. All right. Well,
let's move on to the AEW rankings for April 29th. Again, another week of not a lot of changes, but considering the world situation, it kind of makes sense. We have no change in the men's division. So we have Cody, number one contender, followed by Kenny Omega, Darby Allin, Lance Archer, and Jake Hager. In the women's division, again, no changes. We have Shida, Statlander, Zakazaki, Baker, and Riho. And in the tag division, we have a slight change. So Dark Order still the number one contender, followed by Best Friends up one position in number 2. Young Bucks fall to number 3, followed by SCU and the Lucha Brothers, which, again, still sad we haven't seen these guys in a long time.
Yeah. They're gonna get a big pop when they come back, but yeah, good to see that Best Friends are moving up in the rankings because they're really the only ones working. When you consider these tag teams, they're the only ones working. So it's about time. Like I kind of mentioned it last week or maybe the week before, like how Chris Jericho has only worked once in 2020 and as a singles competitor, and he was still in the top 5 for the longest time. So. Finally getting to see some more realistic changes in these power rankings. So yeah, good to see the Best Friends moving up, and hopefully
they deserve it. They've been doing really well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get into AEW Dynamite for the week. Again, we are getting the all-star commentary team of Jericho and Shivani. Jericho was on fire this week. The references were out of control. The quips were on point. I mean, this is Jericho's best work. And as as the weeks go on, and as the end of the quarantine is kind of getting more envisioned, AEW is gonna go back to doing live shows soon. I'm getting disappointed in the fact that we won't have these two doing commentary anymore.
Yeah. Well, you never know. He might make some more appearances rather than maybe just the one segment of the match that he's in a feud with.
Yeah, for sure.
The guy he's in a feud with, but yeah, it will be sad.
Yeah. But again, good to see these guys working together. Let's get right into the first matchup of the night. Well, let's start off with we had a little bit of an opening promo from the two competitors in the left side of the bracket going into the TNT Championship tournament. We have Cody and Darby Allin. These promos are really good. Classic Cody, classic Darby.
Yeah, I liked how Darby kind of made reference to Cody being kind of the corporate champion, even though we've seen that storyline before. I think it works here, with Cody always being in the suit and kind of the face, and yeah, I like it.
I liked Darby's comment that he didn't lose to Cody, he lost to Arn Anderson. And I think that set this matchup really well. And I know I was, rubbing my hands together. I was licking my lips. I'm like, I got this in the bag, baby. The writing.
Like,
the writing
what
was
does he
on the
mean
wall.
by that, though? Like,
well, because
he just lost to the game plan.
No, the match. I guess you don't remember that match at Daly's Place at the beginning of the year. It's Cody versus Darby, and Darby's got Cody on the mat. The coffin drops coming down. Arn Anderson jumps up onto the ropes, and he's yelling, knees, 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 to get Cody to bring his knees up. That's how that match ends. The storyline being that without Arn Anderson out there to coach him, Cody doesn't win that match. So his comment, I didn't lose to Cody, I lost to Arn. So... like, I'm just liking where this is going. Like, yeah, there's no way Darby's losing this match now. Arn's not there. They got it written. It's perfect. And then we get into the match. And it's classic Darby. It's classic Cody. This was a great match. I liked everything they did. They kept it different from the previous two matches that we had with them, which was really good. We got a Brandy bump, which is always good to see. Not one of her best bumps, but I mean,
Let's talk about this for a second, because the bump was not the greatest, but I think the best part about this is Jericho.
Yes, I was just about to
right?
say.
And Jericho's just he sold that. Cody did this on purpose, and how could he do that to his wife?
And yeah, because they showed the replay, and Cody's looking at Brandy in the eye. And then he turns and throws him into her. Like, yeah, and then Jericho's like, you see what he just did? He knew she was standing there. He's despicable. And yeah, it's Jericho who gets this spot over. For sure.
Why do you think they did this spot?
Well,
if we can get into that.
That's the part I don't get.
Okay.
Because,
so it's not just me.
Yeah, like, it was out of place. If it was one thing that's how they got Brandy out of the way, to where, now this match is going to be kind of clean for the rest of the way. There's not going to be any other, ref distraction or anything getting involved. Then it's okay. But she comes out and she's holding her ribs and she's got the water bottle that means nothing. If it was a way to get some water in Cody's mouth and then he gets kicked and sprays, then fine. But her coming back out just totally took away from everything, really.
Yeah, because you're not watching them now. You're watching her to see, well,
what is she going to do?
What's the yeah.
So to look at this as from a wrestling guy's point of view, this was bad. Her coming back out was just bad. It took away from the match. It took away from the story that they worked in during the match. It totally ruined everything. And then she's not even really involved in the finish. You know, if anything, if she got up on the ropes and told, you know, yelled something out to Cody, much like Arn did, then it makes sense. But then she didn't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So I didn't.
So it's pretty much just TV time for her.
It's just TV time. I really think it is. But yeah, I don't know. It ruined it for me.
Yeah, I didn't get it. But we had some really good wrestling in this one. I don't know about you, but I really liked how these guys were trading off, you know, signature moves. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really clever.
You know, something we haven't seen from Darby before is like working a limb. You know, he got that knee injury early. To shit on Cody for a second. He stopped selling it for a while. But then
it's like he forgot about it. You know.
Yeah. But Darby worked the knee for pretty much the whole match, which was good. Putting him in all these different, you know, submissions and stuff like that, which is something we really haven't seen out of Darby. So it's good to see that Darby can actually wrestle himself.
Yeah.
Another spot that I thought was it was a subtlety, but kind of added to the match is Shawn Spears in the crowd, kind of cheering for Darby. You know, yelling at him, trying to help him get that win over Cody, which I thought it was just like a subtle little detail that worked. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It plays into, you know, the multiple storylines and stuff that we've seen before, and Cody's giving him the evil eye there when he was outside the ring.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that happens quite early in the match when Cody gets to the outside and kind of walks around that corner. And that's why I'm like, oh, that's why Brandy's out here, because she's going to stop Shawn Spears from getting involved in the match or something like that. But then we never got that. Everything about Brandy was just bad.
I wonder if the whole Brandy part was really just about the possibility of, like, if Cody wins and Dustin wins, then who does she choose?
Right.
Right, because she's kind of the valet for both these guys.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't get the whole knockout.
But then we don't even get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know. This whole Brandy spot was bad. Anyways,
what do you think about the end of this, though?
Well, yeah, I was disappointed, much like you were when Darby gets the win over Sammy. It's almost like you stopped analyzing what had just happened because you're just so disappointed that the bracket's busted at this point. I still don't get it. I don't. Cody doesn't need
we
this.
talked about this last week, right? We talked about this last week about how I think it was the Sammy Guevara match and how we weren't even sure who was taking the moves. And here in this finish, again, like I almost had to rewind it just to, like, who won this match? Because it seemed like it was Darby. And then I'm like, well, but it can't be because he had his shoulders up.
Yeah, no, it was.
But they're not really saying who won, and I don't know.
And I think that just goes to show the commentary how well it dictates how the story goes, because they were acting confused. I knew while the count was going in, I was like, I can't believe they're doing it this way. Because, yeah, you see Cody's shoulder is clearly up, and he's in this weird, just shit roll up kind of position. You know, you could argue that Darby wasn't even pinned. Don't you need to have...
Well, his shoulders were down.
His shoulders are down, but don't you have to be on top of him in some way? You know, it's not like Cody had his arm over top of his legs holding him down or anything like that. It was just this weird rollover. You know, the whole thing about it was dumb, and I'm still mad about it. But
yeah, I never even thought about that part of it. You're right. It wasn't really a pin.
But you know, watching it happen, I knew exactly what they were doing, and I'm just confused. Cody doesn't need this. He's never needed it. I understand that he was in it to give the tournament itself some name value. I mean, it's more obvious than ever now that this is just leading up to this Cody Lance Archer collision. But does this feud need a belt on the line to make it interesting? No. You know what I mean? Like, this belt's going to go to waste on either of these guys. I'm so mad. Figure it out, Comic-Con.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a waste. I think you're speaking with emotion right now. Because like Cody's the face of the company. I think if he holds a belt, it's gonna be good. They're making Lance out to be, invincible, so it makes sense. But like, again, I will say, I'll gas you up, as you like to say. Your storyline was way better.
It was.
And Cody, I know you're watching. You failed, bud.
Yeah.
But you can redeem yourself. So.
Yeah.
What was really crappy for me is we already knew what the outcome of the main event was going to be.
Yeah. We already knew that it was going to be Lance over Dustin, but we'll get into that a little bit later on in the show. As we're working our way out of into commercial break, we get another installment in the saga that is Scorpio Sky. I don't think we talked about this segment when it happened a few weeks ago. I think it's something that we overlooked, but it seems to be like a thing right now, is that they're kind of chronicling, Scorpio Sky's rise into, high-end professional wrestling. He's kind of always been an indie guy. He had a stint in ROH where he got to work with SCU, and how that led to where he is today. What are you thinking about these little packages? Is it just a way to keep Scorpio on TV while he's stuck at home in California, or what are you thinking?
Or like he might break away from SCU,
right?
Become a solo guy. I think he needs to be that. I think he can be that.
Well, we saw a little tease of that when he challenged for the AEW Championship against Chris Jericho just before Christmas, right? Like we've seen, he's the most popular out of the three for sure in the AEW crowd. So, yeah, so that's what you think this is going? This is where they're going, is setting it up for him leaving the group?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why else he'd do it. There's I don't want to use the term bigger names, but like we have Nyla Rose. We don't see her, and she's never really mentioned on Dynamite. Right. So yeah, I think he's gonna go solo. I think that's what they're building up to. Is there even going to be a storyline behind him leaving, or is he just going to fade away?
I don't know. I don't think you can have someone in a faction that has the notoriety that SCU has, and then just all of a sudden Scorpio's a solos wrestler. You know what I mean? There's got to be a breakup story somehow. If I'm booking, All right. And Scorpio's like, you know what? I think I have what it takes to be solo. You know, what do you guys think? I'm like, this is how we're going to do it. You and Frankie are going to go on another tag team run for the belts. It's going to be, 5 or 6 weeks, maybe leading up into another pay-per-view. And they're going to lose, 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 and they're going to lose. To the point where... And Frankie's taking the falls on all these matches. You know what I mean? And finally, it's going to just boil over, and you're gonna blow up and walk away, and that'll be that. Like, that's how I'm doing it. But I mean, that's just
maybe they even wrestle too.
Well, yeah, and I think
a match.
And I think that's maybe where you bring CD in, and he's just like, Scorpio, you can't do this, and blah blah blah, and Scorpio gets a little aggressive and pushes, and then CD was like, let's do this, let's take care of this in the ring, and then Scorpio goes over, obviously, and that's kind of the nail in the coffin. I mean, if I had more time to think about it, I think I could make it more elaborate, but I think that's how you have to do it. SCU's got to have tag team matches. They have to lose them. And Frankie's got to take the falls so that Scorpio feels like they're holding him back or something. That's got to be the motivation behind it.
Yeah, I think now that you say it, you're right. There needs to be a split up because Scorpio, he kind of came to notoriety through the whole SU. What's his saying there?
This is the worst town I've ever been
in. So yeah, he needs to rid himself of that moniker, that saying.
Right. Yeah, I agree. As we move along, we get another video promo vignette, and we got MJF, the Salt of the Earth himself, coming back, giving us an update. He had a successful surgery on his hangnail, and everything's looking good, and he's super excited about getting back on live TV on AEW Dynamite, but he had a setback, a minor setback. It's going to hold him off TV for a little while, and he's super disappointed about it. What'd you think of MJF on this one?
Yeah, classic MJF. I have to say I was not expecting him to go to the well again, so to speak, and but he did it, and I feel like he pulled it off. I had a chuckle about it, and the thing I'm most impressed about this guy is he does not even, I don't even know how you say it, like choke up. And then even when I feel like he goes down a path maybe he didn't want to go down, like he gets out of it. It almost seems like it was planned. Like he's that good on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, good news and then bad news, right?
Yeah. He's a talent all on his own. I don't think we've really seen a talker like this since The Rock. Off the cuff. It always seems like it's off the cuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's bring up the real one for a minute. Great on the microphone. This guy was great on the microphone. He never stuttered. He never stumbled over his words. Everything, was great. But it sounded rehearsed. It was
and
obvious.
I think it was.
Well, that's just it. This is
where
I'm going.
Admit it.
This is where I'm going, is that he openly admits that he's been writing promos and has them down in notebooks and writes everything out, and he rehearses them, and everything's staged, which is fine. But it comes off like that. MJF, I'm sure, has an arsenal of quips and phrases that he can pull from that he's been saying forever. I mean, the guy is a catchphrase machine. But it comes off so real that was that to script? Or is he kind of like a stand-up comedian or a musician who has an arsenal of songs and he just mixes them up and puts them in where it feels good? Do you know what I mean? Like it just feels more real with MJF, which is a whole nother skill. And the Rock had that. The Rock knew what he was going to say in a sense, but out there in the ring, he's going off the cuff. The Rock had never worked off a script at all. And when when he's engaging with other wrestlers and stuff like that, and they say things like he changed it up how he needed to, and he got his catchphrases in. Like, that's MJF in a nutshell.
Yeah,
the guy's great. Where I thought this bit was going, he's got the scarf all, tight around his neck and stuff like that. I felt like, he was going, maybe not shaving per se, but like he was going to talk about how he has this hideous neck scar and he's just not quite ready to be on TV. And then I thought he was going to take that scarf off and it was going to be Cody's fucking tattoo. You know what I mean? Okay. Like this hideous blemish on his skin, and then it would have been that sticker or something.
Right. That would have been good.
That's where I thought it was going. But I mean, what he came up with the shaving accident and the nick and whatnot, it was fine. It was funny. And it got the point across, which was great. I mean, again, it almost works better. I mean, that would have been funny having the tattoo there. But this works better because then it's like the hangnail, the shaving nick. What else could it be? Like, stubbed toe. Just these like minor injuries that would never hold a wrestler out of the ring, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
like
sprained
ankle or something.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what else he comes up with. What other excuses he has to keep him off of TV. I think it's great. But as we move on, just like last week, we get the MJF promo and we get right into a Wardlow match. And this is Wardlow. Just like the song
Another
says.
massacre, yeah.
This is war. Can we talk about... Oh, man, that's good entrance music.
Oh, yeah. I actually, after Dynamite, I went on YouTube and listened to it a couple of times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I enjoy it.
I went to go see if it's actually done by like someone relatively famous.
Okay.
But I couldn't find out who actually does it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where AEW's getting a lot of their theme musics and entrance songs from. I know with the jobbers, they're reusing a lot of them. There's kind of seems to just be a stock pack of like 5 that are kind of getting recycled with all the new talents and stuff like that. But this one in particular is really good, and it turns out well, and it suits the character, and I really like it. The match itself, here we see Musa getting another crack at it. What did you think of this match? I mean, besides it just being a straight up massacre.
It was good. I think with your recommendation to go rewatch that dark match, I think I'll do it. Even though he kind of got kicked around, he looked good in there. He looked like he belonged. He's a bigger guy too, so to see what he can do in a kind of a non-squash match,
right?
Probably be more of a sense of what he's about than this match, but he looked like he belonged
until that knee in the corner. Did you see that? Like, holy shit!
I don't remember that.
Wardlow has him up on the corner turnbuckle with his feet kind of hooked on the top rope. So like, say he was kneeling on the top rope instead of standing, and then he's got him by the back of the head, and then he kind of does the and then he kind of throws him down towards the mat. But you think he's just going to go face first into the mat and take a face bump or whatever, but he brings his knee up and just smokes him in the face. And Moose's neck just snapped back. Like, holy smokes. It was devastating.
Was that at the end of the match?
Yeah, he goes right into the F10 right after that.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah,
I guess I'll have to rewatch that one too.
Yeah. Deadly knee to the face. It was, oof. But yeah, like we said, squash match, massacre, Wardlow puts another notch on his belt. I could foresee that he's going to sneak into the top 5 within the next couple weeks for sure. Is he already? He is already. Never mind. That's dumb. But he might be...
Wardlow?
Yeah.
No, he's not in the top 5.
He's not in the top 5? Well, he will be soon is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's been pretty active, the last 3 weeks he's had matches?
Yeah. I mean, they say they take into account the caliber of the opponent, but I don't know. How do you keep this guy out of the top 5?
Yeah.
It's good. It's good stuff. We get into another pre-recorded segment, part 3 of the Bubbly Bunch. I think the best episode of the Bubbly Bunch to date. Talking about they're going back, talking about their, the flim flam competition, and Jericho doesn't really feel that he lost to Sammy, and it's like Ortiz is backing up Jericho, but Santana's backing up Sammy, and as much as they decide that they're not like the Elite, they don't use each other's finishers on each other, they don't talk bad about each other, they don't drink on the job. Yet we see Jericho constantly drinking bubbly, and they decide they're going to have a match against each other, and not just any match, but a Manitoba melee match. Now we're both from Manitoba, so what did you think of this from Jericho? I thought this was great.
Yeah, I like how he's bringing some Canadian content in it. I can only imagine what the American fans, they probably don't even know what a Manitoba is.
Right.
I think it's even cooler that he's, more specific. I think he makes in this whole episode of Dynamite at least 3 references to the Manitoba area. So,
right.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah. Jericho, I mean, he's the GOAT. And then, the Manitoba melee starts, and they're just doing these, straight up to the camera, and then the next guy goes, and then we get a bunch of cameos. What did you think of all these cameos?
Well, yeah, the first one's, what is it, Peter Avalon? And
Sonny
I'm like,
Kiss.
Yeah, this is interesting. And then it gets like, Luther's in there. Okay, that makes sense. Chris and Luther go back. His dad's in there.
Yeah.
And then Lou Ferrigno. What is that like? Do you know if there's some sort of relation or friendship or?
I have no connection to Lou Ferrigno. The rest of them I can find connections. They've all done Talk is Jericho. They were all on the cruise. Lou Ferrigno was kind of the standout. Like, really? And then Jericho comments on it. He's like, was that Lou Ferrigno? So it was great. I mean, we got to see Corey Taylor from Slipknot, Duff McKagan.
Oh, is
from Guns
that
N'
who
Roses.
that was?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was Corey Taylor.
Okay.
Duff McKagan. We got Vicky Guerrero, Jay and Silent Bob, Gabriel Iglesias.
The little person from the Lance Archer video package they did that one week when they're in the back.
Yeah, that's Brad Williams. He's a comedian.
Okay.
He was supposed to be the host of the Jericho Cruise Part 2. Or Part 2. Sorry.
He does a mean worm, man.
Yeah.
That was pretty wicked. And then I thought it was a class act to have I want to say it was like where they had like a regular guy kind of do like be a wrestler for a day kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember where Jericho did that, but he coached this guy, and the guy has some, physical challenges and whatever, and he got to, learn to be a wrestler from Chris Jericho,
Oh,
and then
wow.
he was in that video as well. So I thought
I
that was
didn't know
pretty.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was kind of the one guy I didn't know. So, well, that was really cool. And, you
yeah,
know,
class act from Chris
yeah, for sure.
for
That's
bringing him in
awesome.
there.
Um, yeah, I mean, great spot. It worked. Like you said, bringing in a lot of faces. That's something that WWE created when WrestleMania was created. It was bringing in pop culture into the mix, mixing it in with wrestling. WWE's been around for 100 years, it seems like now, but having those celebrities. Celebrities have always been a part of WWE. So to see AEW bringing in celebrities, maybe not the highest caliber of celebrities per se, but I mean, they're friends of the company, they're fans of the company, obviously. Why else would they put their faces on the show? But it's a good starting point. So now other people would be like, oh, well, if Corey Taylor was a part of AEW, like, I'll be a part of AEW. You
Yeah,
know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Like it'll just explode from there, and big names like Jay and Silent Bob, Kevin Smith, and Jason Mewes, like those guys are huge. We saw them on the very first episode of Dynamite. They were there front row, getting involved.
Hmm.
That'll create some more talk in Hollywood, and a comedian as big as Gabriel Iglesias, like that's huge. So yeah, I'm excited to see once things start clearing up and we get more TV time, more live TV time, that we'll see more celebrities get involved with AEW. I'm really excited about all that. Getting into the next segment of the show, we had another installment, a special installment of How to Be a Role Model with Britt Baker. We caught her at a bad time, so it was more of a behind the scenes situation. I liked that whole introduction into the bit. You know how she kind of answers the door. She's like, "Oh, you guys are here early. We're not quite ready, but hey, we can do a little behind the scenes." And whoever they found to be this makeup artist, she was great.
Yeah,
Like, I want to say that's an actor, but if she was just a crew member, maybe she actually is a makeup artist that, hey, do you think you could pull this off? Like, she pulled it off. That was great.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, yeah, it was good. It's it's one of those heel things, right, where you don't get the person's name correct.
Yeah.
Like she definitely, again, is must be studying Chris Jericho because that's something he would do.
Heel 101.
Yeah,
So, her name was Rebel, but what did Britt call her?
Reba.
Reba. My name's Rebel.
Yeah,
I guess she like whispered it into. I also liked how she's doing her kind of video confessional. She's looking at the camera and she's answering and stuff like that. But you could still see Britt like walking back and forth in between the offices in the background. It just made it more realistic.
yeah,
This bit was really good. It was way better
yeah.
than the last one. And
And
then,
Cody tweeted during that time too, and he's
oh,
like,
did he?
Reba. Yeah. So maybe she is a crew member. It seemed like he knew her.
Yeah. So yeah, it very well could be. I mean, I'd like to know. And if Rebel isn't certified on Twitter because of this, I'll be
Oh
mad.
yeah,
I'm sure she's getting an influx of
and she'll have a
followers.
T-shirt.
Oh yeah, my name's Rebel,
Yeah,
bestseller. And then we get into the actual, if you will, episode of How to Be a Role Model, and it's rule number 2. Not everybody could be a role model. And again, Britt uses Tony Schiavone to kind of poke fun of. Can't wear glasses, can't be fat. Now, this is another moment that I texted you. I don't know, sometimes with our streams and stuff like that, things are behind her. I don't know how linked up we were, if I ruined something for you, but can't be snaggletooths? Can't have snaggletooths? You're a freaking dentist, Britt. There's no such word as tooths.
Like, do you think that was on purpose?
That was completely on purpose.
Yeah.
That was completely on purpose.
She doesn't say it though, right? So
Yeah,
I think I just didn't catch it. Does she?
She says snaggletooths.
Okay.
And it's written there, and she says it. That's why I mean, like, it had to have been staged. But classic heel. I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But because this just leads into, I think it's Cody on Dark has been talking about how he doesn't think she's a real dentist and that she's just a dental assistant. So maybe this is working with that comment to where, yeah, she's not a real dentist because she doesn't know that it's not tooths, it's teeth.
Right.
It's the plural of tooth. So, that's why I think it's on purpose, but we'll see. Maybe she's from Pittsburgh. She could be stupid. No offense to the people in Pittsburgh, but so
no, this was a much better segment than last week's.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to another one. I liked the first one, and I was like, yeah, I want to see where they go with this. After this one, let's see some more. This is where Britt really excels, is these kind of pre-taped where she can try something. No, that didn't feel good. Let's try it again. Once she gets to that point where she can do this live on TV, her stock's going to skyrocket.
Gold. Yeah,
her stock's going to skyrocket. As we get into the next match of the night, we have Shawn Spears in action going up against Baron Black. I don't think we've seen this guy before.
Didn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, didn't look familiar. This was a fine match. It was okay. We've been saying this a lot, just classic Shawn Spears match, Shawn Spears really knows how to work with these undercard guys, and it always works out. I think the kind of thing that kind of made this match a little bit better was Shawn's just character work during the match. You know what I mean? He'd do a move, and then he was messing around with the ref. He was constantly talking to the gun club out in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, he was doing things other than wrestling in this match that really elevated the whole thing.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, because I want to say this is like the third kind of this type of match that he's had in the last little while, and he was kind of playing it more as if he was like kind of cocky, and then the jobber kind of gets a few moves on him, and then he's like, oh, maybe I'll start trying. But this one was like kind of 100% heel.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't any of that kind of cockiness that he's done in the past. So, yeah, I thought it was better in that respect.
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it. It was an entertaining match. Spears goes over like you figure he would, and comboing the C4 finisher into the sharpshooter, which, I mean, every Canadian wrestler does the sharpshooter nowadays, so it was always good to see. I believe I've made a joke, I'm not sure if on the show or between the two of us, but like, when's the last time someone's tapped out to the sharpshooter and we finally get to see it? So it's good to see the sharpshooter getting some respect finally.
Sean watches the show.
I guess so.
Yeah,
it was good stuff. I enjoyed seeing Shawn Spears in action. We've been seeing a lot of Shawn Spears in these quarantine episodes, but I mean, we wanted good things for this guy when he was on his way out of WWE. When he got to AEW, we were really excited. Like, finally he's gonna get his shot, And then things kind of tapered off, and they almost kind of forgot about him. But now he's there, and he's putting in the work, and hopefully Tony Khan, Cody, and the Young Bucks see the work that he's doing. And I'd like to see this guy in the running for a TNT Championship for sure. So, All right, moving on, we get another installment of the Exalted One, Mr. Brody Lee, asserting his dominance on someone who's a third his size. We have Brody Lee versus Marco Stunt. We saw the setup to this match last week after the squash match. What'd you think of this? Classic, run of the mill.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Lance Archer match, like Marco can take a bump. Like he had my wife cringing.
Yeah.
That little boy, he's getting so hurt. I'm like, well, but you see how he's got his hands up, like I thought Marco, like if you watch that in slow-mo, like he did so well to do everything the right way, but still make Brody look, super strong and whatnot. And yeah, no, I thought it was I think Marco really makes the squash match really come off well because of that.
Yeah, like this guy, I guess when you're a guy his size and you're trying to make it in this world that's predominantly giants compared to you, you need to learn how to work with these guys so that you have a spot to work with these guys. And he's really mastered, like, anybody can go in there and get thrown around, but there's still an art to taking moves. You're not just out there flailing your body around, and you do see that, like, as much as he is getting literally thrown around, he's still landing clean. Being as educated as we are, like, yeah, I never once thought like, oh, like his neck could be broken, maybe once or twice, but I mean not a lot. Like, you're like, oh yeah, he took that really well, and stuff like that. And yeah, like you mentioned, he makes these squash matches look like squash matches. Like, you compare it to Brock Lesnar versus John Cena at that SummerSlam that one year. Like, that was a squash match. Brock Lesnar came out and gave 13 German suplexes and 2 F5s, and John Cena didn't get any offense in. The match was over in like 4 minutes. That was a squash match. But John Cena doesn't make it look like a squash match. You know what I mean? Like, Marco Stunt makes it feel like these guys are like super strong,
and really hurting them. Like,
yeah,
you're like,
yeah. As much as John Cena taking those moves and making Brock Lesnar look good, it doesn't necessarily make him look strong, which Marco Stunt really has figured out how to make these guys look way stronger than they actually are. So yeah, I agree. Good stuff. Brody Lee basically wipes the floor. Did Marco get any offense in? Maybe a shin kick or a drop kick? He likes to throw those drop kicks. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't remember it. Yeah. I mean, I was too busy listening to Jericho.
Yeah.
He he dropped the Winnipeg Jets during his comms.
Yeah, so I had asked you about this. He makes a reference to this is like the Winnipeg Jets playing against the Arizona Coyotes, but for some reason I heard Phoenix Coyotes in my mind, which is what the team used to be called. So did you catch that? Did he say Arizona?
Or no, he said Phoenix.
He did say Phoenix. Yeah. So I just kind of chuckled at myself. He's just like, yeah, you're a hockey guy, but I mean, it's been Arizona for at least 3 years now. Figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, good reference. Arizona's never beaten the Jets. So. Yeah, it's a good match. Exalted One gets the win as always, and yeah, let's move on. Next segment of the show, we get to hear from the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. I really enjoyed how this set up. It's like I wonder if you've listened to the Chris Jericho Moxley after he leaves WWE, that podcast, and he talks about how he had this buddy who's a filmmaker, helped him with that teaser video. The minute his contract expired, he released that video of him like breaking out of jail. So I'm wondering if he's working with this guy to do this, but they were out in the desert, kind of along this like dilapidated bridge that's all full of graffiti and stuff like that, and he cuts this like really good babyface promo and how he's packing up and he's heading out east to get back on AEW, and he's going to be live and challenge or going to put the title up, and yeah, this is just really good promo work from Jon Moxley. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and I don't know. Do you think next week is going to be live? Or is this just playing it up?
I feel I heard on the social media outlets that May 6th will be live.
Okay.
I still think...
I mean, we're only 3 weeks out from Double or Nothing.
Mm-hmm. So
something we have to get some build-ups, right? I feel like
we need new content.
We know Lance Archer, Cody. Guess I'm getting ahead of ourselves here, but who else do we have? John has to face somebody.
Yeah, John has to face somebody. Are we gonna get the blood and guts match?
Right,
you know what I mean? Is the tag team titles should be up for grabs, but we haven't seen or heard from Hangman in a couple weeks now. There's a lot of things out in the open, and I would be very, very, very surprised if they had everything planned and shot leading right up to Double or Nothing. So I feel like these next 3 weeks are going to be live shows, and we're going to get a very compact build to 5 or 6 matches for Double or Nothing. So, I'm looking forward to seeing Kenny, Hangman, Nyla Rose, I'm sure is going to appear at some point, you'd think. You got to think Sheeta is going to be the one. She's the number one contender right now.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the time of the pre-tapes are done, and we need to get back rolling. I'm sure there's still not going to be a crowd, but to see a show back at Daly's Place again, Matt Hardy's kind of fallen off. There's another name that just popped up that, hasn't capitalized on his debut yet, right? Like, we need to see him in action, so.
Yeah, he didn't even have a segment this week, eh?
No, he didn't.
And we don't know, did Sammy take the challenge?
I seen on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter, that it's going to be a tag team match. Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy versus Sammy and Jericho.
Oh.
On Dynamite next week.
Okay, yeah, I think they flashed a graphic of that during the show.
Yeah, was it on Dynamite? Maybe that's where
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, because Jericho called him the pumpkin-headed dipshit again.
It was. I really liked it the first time I heard it. It's getting old now.
Wow. Yeah, it's almost like an HBO show that, yeah, we can get away with saying shit on TV, so let's just overuse it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just circling back to the Moxley promo, like, it was really good, and hopefully we get to see him in action next week. I believe that is on the table. Yeah, everything about that promo was good. his line about packing up the bags and grabbing the wife and the dogs and heading out east. Like, it was really good.
Throw the Metallica. Did he say CDs? He's old school, eh? Throw the Metallica CDs in the truck and
Yeah.
get her done.
Get her done. All right. And then we move into the main event, the semifinals from the right side of the bracket. Lance Archer versus Dustin Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes coming out to help Dustin out. This match surprised me. This match was surprisingly good. Surprisingly well planned out, well executed. I don't know why I was surprised. Dustin's a veteran of 30 years. Lance Archer's a big guy doing big guy stuff. It's kind of a no-brainer that this match is going to be good, but I guess I just felt like there was always that they're not going to have the chemistry to work together.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they had chemistry, and it worked really well. And the story they brought out, Dustin gets beat on for a long time in Lance Archer match terms. And then he makes a comeback, and he gets some offense in, and then it's cut short, and 1, 2, 3. I mean, this match surprised me. It was really good.
Yeah, I like the part at the end where QT's got the towel.
Yes.
And then, Cody, I didn't know if he was stopping him or if it was like, he's my brother, I should be making this decision. And then
it's too late.
Yeah, and then what I'm thinking at this point is Dustin still doing this? Is this his last match? Like, if he loses, is this the end? They haven't come back to that in the commentary. Yeah. So I get a sense that, he's telling Cody, like, don't throw in the towel. I have to sort of end this on my own terms. And then, I thought the whole head smashing and the knee on the neck and, staring down Cody, like, perfect from Lance Archer there, and is setting up for what will probably be a pretty good match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I'm excited. As much as I was hoping it was going to go the other way, I mean, I expected that we were going to see Cody Archer at Double or Nothing. I guess I kind of called that. I guess I didn't really think it through that, the finals to the TNT tournament were still going to be at Double or Nothing. But, I just felt like there was other ways to do it. But I do want to see this match, this Cody Archer match. Do I think the belt makes it more exciting? No, but I'm still excited to see what's going to happen. If you had to throw out a prediction right now, who's winning the TNT Championship?
I don't know. It's tough. I think the big deciding factor for me is the whole Cody did the video package where he said, am I going to be a mid Carter for the rest of my life, or am I going to be a top guy? So I could see it going both ways. He could finally be the top guy and everybody rejoices, or we get it that he'll never be a top guy. And that could be kind of a, see, Vince, look, you were right. But it's sort of, he did it on his terms rather than just not being utilized.
Right. I think this belt, I honestly think this belt is wasted on either of these guys. I really do. I get that TNT as a network starting to maybe put their finger in things. How, Cody, you should be the first champ because you're a name, and then it makes this belt important, you know, and, you know, our name is on this belt, which makes us look important. Da-da-da-da-da. I think that's the only reason why Cody wins this match, I feel.
But do you think that Lance can lose clean? Like, I feel like this needs to be a dirty...
Well, my logic says that, but Cody beat Wardlow clean, completely ruined him. We talked about. You know, Cody's kind of this giant killer, if you will, right now. So, I mean, I don't think it's the end of the world if Cody wins clean.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's where it's going to go. I think...
I don't think we should make a decision now.
Yeah.
I think we have to...
see the build-up.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm saying it right now. This belt is pointless on either of these guys, I feel. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah. Well, I think if I was doing it, you know, if they're forcing Cody to take this belt, then maybe he just drops it right away.
He could.
You know, he gives a match to, you know, Darby Cody 3 or Sammy.
If Cody wins this tournament and then, like, the following Dynamite, he gives Darby another chance because the pin was controversial, we'll say, and Darby wins that fucking belt, I'm taking my points.
Yeah. Well, I think between you and I, you already, like, you beat me. I think you got further than I did. I don't know that me picking... Well...
No, we ended up tied. Because I had Darby, Cody, Darby. So I had 2 out of 3 matches right. You had Dustin, Lance. Right? So you're 3 out of 3. You beat me.
But you had Lance as well, didn't you?
Yeah, but I didn't have Dustin. So there you got the advantage.
Okay. Then that's what we'll say. If Darby gets the belt the week after Double or Nothing, then...
I guess I could tie it up if Paul Turner is the ref in the final. Then I get my bonus point, and then we'll be tied.
Well, no, and you'll lead because if he takes the bump, that was an extra point, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Anyways, it's all good.
But it is hard to make those predictions without the story.
Yeah, for sure. So
Like
leading into Double or Nothing, we'll do a for sure. We'll do a for sure
The
Double
Friday
or
night.
Nothing rundown before the show, and we'll make our predictions for the whole show and stuff like that. But then we'll get to the bottom of what we think's going to happen with this TNT Championship and all that. But I'm still saying it now, man. Both these guys don't need this belt. It doesn't make the match any more important. It boggles my mind that, I mean, I've been saying it for months and months and months. This is Darby's belt. But I'm sure he'll have it eventually. There's no way he doesn't. But I thought this was his time. They took it away. Either way, that was a good show. I'm still pissed off. I'm sorry.
It's pretty emotional.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like 6 beers in too, so the truth is coming out. I'm pissed off, man. This is Darby's belt. Anyways, good show. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, leave it in the comments below. Let me know. Let us know what you thought of the show. A little long-winded on this one, but we had a lot to talk about. A lot of opposing views and whatnot. But drop a like. Think about subscribing. Leave us some comments below, and we'll see you in the next episode. All right? Peace.
Peace.